When I was 5 years old, my father passed away in an accident. Ever since then, it was my mother who raised my sister and me, all on her own. However, my mother also passed away from illness when I was 18. Since then, my sister and I have been living by relying on each other and getting help from our relatives. My sister, 2 years younger than me, is cheerful, friendly, kind to everyone, and always surrounded by people. Even after graduating from high school and starting to work, I was often cheered up by my sister's warm personality. My sister got married when she was 24. She married her boyfriend whom she had been dating since high school, and a year later, they were blessed with a daughter named Hannah. Despite being tossed around by childcare, she was always looking forward to documenting Hannah's growth with her camera, which was her hobby. On the other hand, I had a girlfriend in high school, but we quickly broke up. I'm shy and slow to make a move, so even if I'm interested in a woman, I can't bring myself to approach her. And since then, I've had a hard time finding a girlfriend. After graduating from high school and starting to work, I was busy dealing with the tasks at hand. Perhaps because of that, I am now able to enjoy my work at the current company. Let's just say I haven't had a girlfriend because I haven't had good luck so far. I work at a company that deals with baby products, and I'm involved in the development of new products in the product development department. When I first joined the company, I was assigned to the sales department. I used to visit the stores of our company's main clients, study our products, and work hard to contribute to the sales. However, after Hannah was born, I started thinking about what I could do to make childcare a little easier. Around that time, there was a competition within the company to solicit ideas for new products, and I decided to apply, and I was surprised to win. I got involved in the development as is, and I learned the joy and difficulty of manufacturing. I wanted to be more involved, so I requested a transfer to the product development department, and that's where I am now. For a while after transferring to the product development department, I was often working overtime due to unfamiliar tasks. The person who kindly supported me during that time was a female employee named Samantha, who was 2 years younger. Despite her younger age, Samantha is a respected figure in the product development department. She was involved in the development of a portable baby chair, which has now become a hit product of the company, and she even received the President's Award that year. Despite her achievements, Samantha, who is capable of detailed consideration for others, has many secret fans not only in the department but also in the company. Actually, I also secretly admire her, but with my personality, of course, I haven't been able to make a move. For me, my current pleasure is to see my niece Hannah. My sister and her husband live in a suburb relatively close to the house where I live alone. Worried about me, who tends to be casual about my diet when I'm alone, my sister often contacted me to come over for dinner. My sister and her husband, who always welcomed me warmly. Hannah, who was initially shy and cried when she saw me, has completely warmed up to me as she has grown. Wanting to see Hannah's happy face, I enjoy visiting my sister's house with donuts that she loves and little toys as gifts. To my sister, who looks apologetically and says, "You didn't have to bring anything," I smile and reply, "It's a pleasure for me." The time spent with Hannah's smile and interacting with my sister and her husband is precious to me. My sister used to say that she wanted me to experience the joy of having a family. "Because you're so shy, I'll introduce you to someone next time. I already have someone in mind." she used to say enthusiastically. But I had no idea at the time that such a thing would happen before that promise was fulfilled. That day the weather was bad, and it had been pouring rain since morning. As usual, I went to work and was attending a department meeting from 10 a.m. There was a call on my office cell phone from the General Affairs Department, and when I moved from the conference room to the hallway to answer it, "Can I connect you to a call from the police?" I was told. Wondering what had happened, I nervously had them connect me. I was told that my sister and her husband had been in a car accident and that they were in a critical condition and unconscious, and I was asked to come to the hospital immediately. I was in a state of shock from the sudden news and rushed to the hospital. My sister had been talking about wanting to go out and buy a surprise gift for Hannah's upcoming 5th birthday. I had received a message in the morning saying that they were going to buy it together because they both managed to take a day off, even though I had offered to take out my car. Perhaps the unfamiliar driving and the poor visibility due to the rain that had been falling since morning had caused the accident. I prayed as I headed to the hospital to see my sister and her husband. When I arrived at the hospital, it was too late for my sister and her husband, who would never open their eyes again. I couldn't accept the sight in front of me, with the image of the two smiling faces that I had just seen a few days ago deeply etched in my mind. Next to me, a little girl named Hannah, brought here by a relative, was crying.
"Mama, Papa, what's happened? Why won't they wake up?"
I didn't know what to say to Hannah, who was letting large tears spill over her cheeks. All I could do was hug her. After my sister and her husband's funeral was over, the gathered relatives began to discuss who would take care of Hannah.
"She's only 5, the po thing."
"We already have 3 kids."
No one seemed willing to offer to take in Hannah. Hannah, on the other hand, was clutching the hem of my shirt anxiously. Seeing her sad face, I made a decision. I'll take responsibility. I'll raise Hannah. Of course, I would be lying if I said I was totally okay with my decision. But I didn't want to see Hannah's sad face anymore, and out of all the relatives, she was most attached to me. The relatives worried about the difficulties of balancing work and child care, especially doing it alone. But when I expressed my intention to raise my sister's precious daughter responsibly, no more objections were raised.
"Uncle Mike, are we going to live together?"
Looking up at me, Hannah asked. "Yes, we are. I might be unreliable, but we'll pull through together," I replied, patting her head. I decided then and there that I would do everything I could to make her happy. Our lives became hectic after that. I searched for a larger apartment for Hannah and me to live in, and we moved. I also found a daycare near our new home to replace the kindergarten she used to attend. Fortunately, we were able to transfer her to a daycare about 15 minutes from my office that had an opening. At first, Hannah cried when I dropped her off at the daycare, but gradually she got used to it. Still, the loss of her parents and the change in environment took a toll on her. She often woke up in the middle of the night crying. Each time, I gently hugged her and we fell asleep together. The hardest part was cooking. As a bachelor, I used to eat out often and was not good at cooking. But for Hannah's sake, I tried hard to cook child-friendly meals using recipe websites.
"It doesn't taste like Mom's, but it's not bad."
Hannah, trying to be considerate in her own way, said. I decided to spend a lot of time with her on weekends, taking her to her favorite places like the zoo and the park. Thanks to these efforts, Hannah slowly began to smile again. but I was feeling worn out from juggling work and unfamiliar parenting duties. I had informed my office about Hannah, but I didn't want to cause them any trouble, so I often brought work home to make up for not being able to stay late. After putting Hannah to bed, I would finish my house chores and cut back on sleep to complete my work. Despite the exhaustion, I was desperate to spend more time with Hannah, who had recently started smiling again, so I worked hard every day. About 2 months of living like this passed. Then one day something happened. I had been feeling a little dizzy since the morning, but I had an important meeting scheduled first thing.
Uncle Mike, are you okay, eh? You don't seem well.
Hannah looked up at me worriedly when she woke up. I'm fine. Now, let's eat breakfast and get ready. I replied brightly and took her to the daycare. On my way to an internal meeting, I was hit by severe dizziness. The dizziness was accompanied by nausea, and I couldn't move. Luckily, my colleague, Samantha, noticed something was wrong and called for help. Thanks to her, I was taken to the company's infirmary, where the doctor told me that my dizziness was due to fatigue. I was told that my recent lack of sleep was likely the cause and was sternly warned to take care of myself even if I was busy. I knew that, but with so much to do, I couldn't help but feel frustrated. All I could do was apologize to the doctor. Since it was now lunchtime, I decided to rest in the infirmary. While resting, Samantha, who was concerned about me, visited the infirmary. As I froze up all of a sudden, I found myself apologizing. Samantha, with a look of concern on her face, began speaking.
Are you all right? I heard that you had taken in your sister's child.
Everyone in the office knew about my situation, so naturally, Samantha did too. Yeah, it's pretty tough juggling work and raising a kid on your own. I, who was completely worn down, ended up expressing my vulnerability to Samantha, who had shown concern for me. I slowly explained to Samantha how I ended up taking in my niece, Hannah, after my sister and her husband's unexpected accident. Samantha quietly listened to my story. Balancing work and childcare is hard, but I want to do my best for her. As I showed her a picture of Hannah, Samantha was slightly surprised and looked at the photo intently.
Your niece is 5 years old. That's such a cute age, isn't it?
With that comment, Samantha seemed to well up a little. I'm sorry for unloading all this on you. I'm feeling a bit better after taking a break, so let's get back to work. I hastily ended the conversation and decided to get back to work with Samantha. But when I returned to my desk, my boss suggested I take some paid time off and rest. He also advised me to go to the doctor, just in case. I felt awkward about taking time off in the middle of my work, but if I don't recover, I'll just be a burden to the company. So, I decided to take 3 days off, and Hannah was the happiest about this.
I'm so glad that Uncle Mike could pick me up early. You look so much better.
I always picked her up at the last possible moment each day, so I realized I must have made her feel lonely. Although I find my work rewarding, I began to wonder if I should consider switching jobs. Would it be better for Hannah if I chose a job that offered more flexibility with time? While pondering whether to consider changing jobs, I returned to work after my time off. During the morning meeting, I apologized to everyone for the sudden leave of absence, but my colleagues and superiors assured me not to worry. Everyone around me was so nice that I was filled with guilt. There's a sense of fulfillment in my job, but I started wondering if I had reached my limit considering the balance with child care. Feeling troubled, I spent the morning and ended up having my lunch break alone on the rooftop of the office building. Then, Samantha, who had been looking for me, showed up. And to my surprise, she said something that I didn't see coming.
You know, I've been thinking a lot since our conversation the other day. Would you let me help you out a little?
Caught off guard by Samantha's offer, I found myself lost for words. Seeing my reaction, Samantha continued speaking.
I bet it's a surprise to be asked this all of a sudden, but actually, I have a bit of a connection with your sister.
It turns out that Samantha and my sister had been following each other on Instagram. When she first joined the company, Samantha used Instagram to research popular baby items. During her research, she noticed my sister's post and decided to follow her. Thinking back, I recalled my sister really enjoyed photography after Hannah was born. Moreover, Samantha mentioned that she had been inspired by my sister's feedback for the development of a portable baby chair that won her the President's Award. Samantha saw a post from my sister saying how she wished she could easily enjoy dining out with her child, but it was always a concern whether the restaurants would have child-friendly seating. Samantha reached out to my sister via DM and even got her advice during the product development stage. Learning about the unexpected connection between Samantha and my sister left me speechless. Samantha wanted to tell me when she saw Hannah's picture the other day, but she couldn't.
Her post had stopped recently, and I never imagined that she had passed away.
Samantha spoke with a saddened expression, surprised and lost for words at my situation. Even so, I hesitated to let Samantha help with raising Hannah. I appreciate the offer, but I really can't put that on you. I tried to decline politely, but Samantha looked at me with a serious expression.
I don't just want to help because of our connection. I don't want to see you collapse again.
With that, Samantha shared her own story. Her parents divorced when she was young, and her mother raised her single-handedly. However, juggling work and childcare, her mother worked herself to the bone day after day. In the end, the strain became too much, and she passed away due to illness when Samantha was only 16.
I always regret not noticing something was wrong sooner. She was always smiling, pushing herself too hard. I see her in Mr. Jones every time she pushes herself too hard, she reminisced. Not that it's the only reason, but I see a lot of my mother in Mr. Jones' work. There's so much I can learn from her, and I want to continue developing useful products with her. So, please don't overwork yourself. It's okay to rely on others more. I might not be the most reliable, but please let me help.
As she looked straight at me, Samantha said this with conviction. The fact that such a competent woman praised my work made me feel both proud and embarrassed, and my face turned red. Seeing my reaction, Samantha blushed a bit, too. After a while, we both burst out laughing. Suddenly, all the energy I had been pouring into my work and raising my child seemed to evaporate. In the end, I decided to take Samantha up on her offer. After work, Samantha would stop by my house to help out. She cooked, cleaned, and was genuinely a great help. Hannah, my daughter, quickly warmed up to Samantha, who would read her storybooks and play with her. There were even times when Hannah would share secrets with Samantha that she wouldn't tell me, and they would laugh together. Initially, I had a bit of a crush on Samantha, and every day that we spent together at my house, my feelings grew stronger. I'm shy and not very good at making advances. But seeing me like this, Hannah one day asked,
Do you like Uncle Mike, Samantha? Do you want him to always be with you?
At Hannah's sudden question, I broke out into a sweat. I apologized and tried to brush it off, but Samantha looked straight into Hannah's eyes and said,
Yes, I do like him. I want to be with him always, if that's okay.
Samantha confessed, her face turning red with embarrassment as she looked down. Caught off guard by her confession, I bowed my head deeply and replied, "Yes, please stay with us forever." Thus began my relationship with Samantha, and somehow, I was able to manage both work and raising a child. I found out later that Hannah had actually known about Samantha.
Mommy had a person she wanted to introduce to Uncle Mike. She showed me a picture.
My sister, who followed Samantha on Instagram, apparently knew we worked at the same company.
But she told me to keep it a secret because she wanted to surprise Uncle Mike when they met.
Hannah, who was now very close to Samantha, hugged her tightly and smiled brightly. Seeing how attached Hannah had become, Samantha couldn't help but smile back. I believe this happy moment is all thanks to the connection my sister made for us. I can't express how grateful I am. With that thought, I made a promise to myself to make these precious people happy from